Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're stepping right into the shoes of an investigator to examine a case that is honestly as strange as it is terrifying. It's called The Mystery of Ramaniyapur. Now, I know it sounds like the setup for a classic horror movie, right? But as we peel back the layers, using the evidence and first-hand accounts, we're going to see this totally fascinating interplay between mass hysteria, human psychology, and some really dark, calculated deception. So get ready, because this one is quite the ride.
Think about this for a second. Imagine the sheer terror it would take to empty a thriving, vibrant farming community literally overnight. What actually makes a village abandon its homes? People just leaving their ancestral lands, abandoning their fields, and fleeing in the dead of night? What could possibly possess hundreds of rational, hardworking folks to just pack up and run? Was it a natural disaster? A plague? Well, no. As we're about to see, it was something entirely unseen, completely fueled by rumors that just gripped the collective mind of the whole village.
Okay, Section 1, The Terror of Ramaniyapur. Ramaniyapur's fear. Let's look at exactly how this fear took root. According to our source material, Ramaniyapur wasn't always this abandoned ghost town. Picture a peaceful village, a really serene, tight-knit community where neighbors actually helped each other out, and mornings were just filled with golden sunlight over these lush green fields. It was idyllic, but that peace was shattered so incredibly fast by a dark rumor that just crept in and completely consumed their reality.
Moving on to Section 2, the terrifying banyan tree. The epicenter of fear.
Every haunting needs an epicenter, and for Ramaniyapur, it was a massive, centuries-old banyan tree right near an historic temple. Now, the tree itself wasn't the problem. It was what supposedly lived inside it. Locals started whispering that the tree was haunted by a Mayavi Shakti, basically an illusionary dark force or a hungry ghost. The rumor mill had everyone convinced that this entity roamed around the tree at night, and if you got too close, it would drag you straight into its terrifying dark world. And this perfectly shows what happens to a community under severe psychological stress. The terrified masses just yielded to the superstition, fleeing for their lives to neighboring villages or distant farms. But then you have Daria. He's a 30-year-old villager who absolutely refused to abandon his land because of some ghost story. The guy was just incredibly stubborn. While everybody else ran, he wanted to stay, face the fear head-on, and find out what was actually happening at that tree. But honestly, Tyra's logic was fighting a really tough battle against these chilling eyewitness accounts. Take a villager named Dhanraj, for example. He went on record saying, "I saw the entity circling the tree late at night with my own eyes. My soul trembled." When your own neighbors, people you've literally trusted for years, start giving first-hand accounts of seeing a dark figure with glowing red eyes, the hysteria gets validated. It's not just a spooky story anymore. To the villagers, it becomes an established, terrifying fact. And this lore was so powerful, it spread miles beyond the village borders. When Daria's son Arnav arrives from the city with his college friend, a rickshaw driver in a neighboring town straight up refuses to drive them all the way into Ramaniyapur. The driver gives them this terrifying warning about a hungry ghost that pulls people into its dark world. I mean, that just shows you how deeply ingrained and widespread the panic had become. The village was completely isolated by its own terrifying reputation.
Let's get into Section 3, Scary Night and Abduction, the climax of fear.
So let's break down exactly what happens on the night the Mayavi Shakti finally strikes. It's pitch black out, pouring rain. Around 12:30 a.m., Daria's wife, Priya, wakes up to get some water and just happens to glance out the window. She spots it, the entity, standing right under the banyan tree, staring back with these deep red eyes. She frantically wakes Daria. At first, he looks, sees nothing, and tells her she's just hallucinating. But she insists. He looks again, and the entity is back. By 12:45 a.m., the stubborn Daria has had enough. Ignoring Priya's begging, he marches outside to confront it. And then, at exactly 1 a.m., the unthinkable happens. The entity seemingly vanishes, and this invisible force violently yanks Daria upward, pulling him straight into the thick, dark branches of the tree.
Put yourself in Priya's shoes for a second. Imagine the sheer horror of that moment. She's watching from the window, and she sees her husband, a guy who adamantly refused to believe in ghosts, seemingly claimed by an unseen supernatural power. Her mind literally can't process the impossibility of what she just saw. The terror completely overwhelms her nervous system, and she just collapses, fainting on the cold floor of their home. Which brings us to Section 4, Son Arnav's return, a city boy in a village nightmare.
While Priya is lying there unconscious, the perspective shifts. Darius' son, Arnav, is just getting back from the city with his friend Rahul. They have absolutely no idea what just went down. Arnav has been hyping up his warm, lively childhood village to his friend. But instead, they walk right into an ominous, cinematic nightmare. Pitch black, deserted streets, no electricity, just the heavy rain and howling wind. They step inside the house to find complete silence, his mom unconscious on the floor, and his dad totally missing. It is a massive, shocking contrast to the vibrant memories he had.
But here's the thing about Arnav. He's a logical, city-educated guy, and he refuses to let superstition paralyze him. He immediately snaps into action with a rapid response plan. Step 1, he wakes his mom up and gets the whole terrifying story out of her. Step 2, instead of hiding, he goes right back out into the dangerous, muddy night to find the Grand Pramosh, the village head, who is hiding out in a farmhouse. And step 3, he rounds up the village head and a few remaining men to do the absolute unthinkable. They're going to confront that banyan tree. And that sets up Section 5, Veil Lifts from the Mystery, the final confrontation. The group makes it to the epicenter of the nightmare. The wind is whipping around them, the rain is coming down hard, and this ancient tree is just looming there like a monster. But Arnav doesn't start chanting prayers or backing away. Nope. Armed with a heavy stick, he marches right up to the trunk. In the dead of night, he bravely just starts striking the thick branches. He is physically attacking the very source of this haunting. As he's viciously hitting the branches, something super weird happens. Clothes, female garments, fall out of the canopy. Arnav hits it harder. Suddenly, a loud crack echoes over the storm, a thick branch snaps, and two figures come crashing down into the mud. The villagers just gasp in total shock as they look at the fallen entity. Let this sink in for a second. This was no ghost.
There was absolutely no Mayavi Shakti, that invisible force pulling Daria up. It was a mechanical trap rigged with a heavy pulley system. The terrifying red-eyed demon was literally just a human wearing a mask and disguised in female clothing. And Daria? He wasn't pulled into some dark spirit realm. He was physically tied up with heavy ropes and gagged with a cloth so he couldn't scream. This whole thing was a meticulously planned physical abduction masquerading as a haunting. So, the multi-million-dollar question is, if it wasn't a ghost, who orchestrated this massive, terrifying campaign? Well, they pull the mask off, and it reveals none other than the village's former landlord. The Grand Promok recognizes him instantly. Get this, months earlier, this greedy landlord had been caught red-handed stealing sacks of wheat from the villagers. He was publicly humiliated, stripped of his power, and banished. So this hungry ghost? It was never a supernatural entity. It was just a deeply bitter man seeking revenge, weaponizing the villagers' own superstitions to empty the town and take his power back.
So what does this all really mean? It brings up a huge question. How easily can fear be weaponized against us? Think about it. An entire village surrendered their homes, their livelihoods, and their sanity, all because of an illusion created by one guy with some ropes and a scary mask. It took just one person, completely grounded in reason and refusing to be paralyzed by superstition, to step into the dark with a stick and literally beat the truth out of the shadows. It's such a powerful reminder to always question the monsters we are told to fear. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and remember, keep questioning the shadows around you.